Alright, this is the same chapter, chapter 16, development of organism and continuity of life. But since we are done with reproduction in plants, now we have to focus on reproduction in humans or in mammals. Particularly, we will focus on sexual reproduction in humans, which includes two processes. The first one is gamete formation, and the other one is fertilization and development. Gamete formation will happen obviously in the respective reproductive organs in male and female. We will see the structure and difference between the sperm and ovum, which are the male and female gametes respectively. Now, in today's lesson, we will only go through the male reproductive organ, its structure, and the function of those structures. Let's see first the sexual reproduction in humans. Like I told you before, it comprises of two processes. First one is gamete production and the other one is fertilization. Gamete production occurs in reproductive organs and these organs are called gonads. Gamete formation, like we have read it before during the reproduction in plants lecture, that gametes are formed by a cell division called meiosis, where the number of chromosome is reduced to half in daughter cells compared to the parent cell. Here in this diagram too, you can see that the parent cell with two pairs of chromosome was diploid in number, and it gave rise to four possible types of gametes which can be produced by one single parent cell, each with two chromosomes. If you can see that the chromosome number is reduced to half in the four daughter cells or the four gametes which are being produced. So this is the reproduction which involves the process of meiosis. This is the sexual reproduction which involves the process of meiosis, where the number of chromosome in the daughter cell is reduced to half. A diploid cell gives rise to four gametes which are haploid. Now let's see the male and female gametes which are produced, their structure and differences. These are the structures of male and female gametes. In male, we call the gamete as sperm. If you can see the structure here, it has a head and a middle piece, and then it has a tail. The head consists of nucleus and cytoplasm. It also has a structure at the front which is called acrosome. We will see its function later. For now, just remember that the head piece of the sperm contains the nucleus and cytoplasm and also the acrosome. The middle piece consists of many mitochondria. Mitochondria are powerhouse of the cell and are responsible for the formation of energy, that is ATP, by the process of respiration. This structure of tail helps the sperm to move. So now we know that the male gamete, which is called sperm, has the ability to move, unlike the female gamete where we do not see any mobility. Here you can see the diagram of an egg or ovum which is produced in the female reproductive organs. It consists of cytoplasm, nucleus, plasma membrane and outer membrane. Here you can see that it is double layered, so it has two membranes, cytoplasm and nucleus. Keep in mind that both of these cells are gametes and hence are containing half the number of chromosome compared to the parent cell. Both of them are haploid. Here you can see in the animation the mobility of the sperm cells. They are able to move around because of the structure of the tail and the fact that the mitochondria are providing them with the energy to move. Now let's see the difference between these two gametes, the female and male gamete. If we see the size, the female gamete is comparatively larger compared to the male gamete. The female gamete is about 0.1 millimeter, while that of a male gamete is 0.05 millimeter, 80% of which is tail. How about quantity? The quantity of the female gamete is quite less, that is, it is released only once a month after the age of puberty till the age of menopause. Menopause is the age in females where the ovaries stop to produce the gametes. They stop producing egg. At that age, the female is no more fertile and is unable to release an egg. Otherwise, after the age of puberty till menopause, one ovary will release one egg per month. While in the case of male, after the age of puberty, male are able to form millions of sperms, millions of the gametes. How about the nucleus? Both of them are haploid, but we have read in the chapter of inheritance that the female gamete is always containing X chromosome, while the male sperm or the male gamete may carry X chromosome or it may carry Y chromosome. The cytoplasm in female gamete is quite yolky and it is quite nutritionist. It has quite much food stored in it. On the other hand, the cytoplasm quantity in the male gamete is quite less. Motility, we have read about it in our previous slide that the female gamete is non-motile while the male gamete is able to swim through towards the egg because of the structure that is called the tail. Now the process of fertilization we have to see. You can see here that by the process of meiosis, male and female gametes were produced. Male sperm and female egg both are haploid in number, and when they fuse together, the process is called fertilization, which yields a cell called zygote, which is diploid in number. Once this cell is produced, once the zygote is formed, mitosis undergoes. Mitosis happens and this zygote divides multiple times to give rise to embryo. Embryo is nothing but a bunch of or a ball of cells. All the cells will be diploid because they are produced by the process of mitosis. So if you can see that the number of chromosome is maintained now, the number of chromosome in the parent cell was diploid. It underwent meiosis to form gametes, and when the gametes fused, when the fertilization happened, it gave rise to the cell which is called zygote, again with the same number of chromosome compared to the parent cell. So this is how the diploid number of chromosome is maintained in the offspring, that the number of chromosomes are to be reduced when the gametes are to be formed. So when the gametes will fuse, you will get the normal chromosome number again. This animation shows you the process of fertilization where male and female gametes are fusing together, giving rise to a single cell called zygote with diploid number of chromosomes. Here in this animation, I have tried to show you that there would be millions of sperms which will try to fuse with the female egg or the ovum. But keep in mind that only one sperm would be able to penetrate through the egg and would fertilize it. Male reproductive organs are testes. They are 2 in number, and the male reproductive system is quite closely associated with the urinary system. Let's see the diagram of male reproductive organ now to understand the structures and to know how we are able to label them, and then we will see their function. This is the front view of male reproductive organ. You can see above here we have the urinary system, which consists of kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, and then we will see urethra. Now on the other hand, we have male reproductive organ which are called testes. These testes are 2 in number, as you can see in the diagram here. The testes are the main site of sperm production. Here the sperms are produced. These testes are lying in the folds of skin called scrotum. Scrotum lies outside the body. It is because of the fact that testes are able to produce sperms in relatively lower temperature. If they had been inside the body temperature would be slightly higher, which is not very appropriate for sperm production. So the scrotum is outside the body. It can be visually seen outside the male body, that the scrotum would carry the testes, and then we see that the inside in the testes there is a very coiled tube which is called epididymis. Here it is being labeled. Epididymis will carry the sperms from the testes, and then all the way from the sperm duct it will join the urethra. You can see here that the sperm duct is joining with the urethra, and there would be a common passage for sperms and the urine to be passed out from the body. So this structure, which is urethra, is not only transporting urine out of the body, it is also responsible for the release of sperms out of the body. Other than these tubules, the male reproductive organ also consists of certain glands, which includes prostate gland, then there is a Cowper's gland, and then we have seminal vesicle. What they do and what their function is, we will see in the later slides. For now, just remember that along with these tubules, testes, there are glands which are associated with male reproductive organs. So here are the parts of the male reproductive system along with their function. Testes, like I told you, are the organs which produce sperms and a hormone which gives secondary sexual characteristics to the male, which is called testosterone. So now we know that testes are not only responsible for formation of sperms, but also are giving secondary sexual characteristic to a male because of the production of the male hormone called testosterone. Testes are 2 in number, and they are made up of millions of tiny coiled tubes. There are millions of sperms which are produced per day. Scrotum, on the other hand, is a sac-like structure which is holding and protecting the testes outside the body. Like I told you, that testes work more efficiently just below the body temperature. Hence, they are lying outside the body. Sperm duct are the tubes which carry sperm away from the testes. Sperm duct formed from either testes would join together with the urethra just below the bladder. Here in this diagram, I have tried to show you the same, that the sperm duct is joining with the urethra just below the urinary bladder. This is the urinary bladder, and just below it, the sperm duct is joining with the urethra. Prostate gland, it is a gland that manufactures seminal fluid. So now we know what's the function of prostate gland in male reproductive organs, that this gland is responsible to form a fluid which is called seminal fluid. This seminal fluid is actually carrying the sperms. It provides nutrition to the sperms, and along with sperms and seminal fluid, both combined would be called as semen. Here I have shown that sperms plus seminal fluid are forming semen. Prostate gland surrounds the junction between sperm ducts and urethra. So this is telling you in description the location of the prostate gland. Urethra is the tube that carries both urine and semen outside the body. On the other hand, penis is the organ for introducing sperms into the female vagina. This is another view of male reproductive organ. This is the left side view showing you the same structures that we have read before. The ureter is coming from the urinary bladder, the kidneys, and is joining with the urinary bladder. Then the pubic bone is here. Prostate gland is being shown, which is responsible for the formation of seminal fluid. Then the sperm duct, which is carrying the sperms from the epididymis towards the urethra. Penis again is the organ which will introduce the sperms into the female reproductive system. Urethra is the common passage for the flow or the discharge of urine and also of semen. Scrotum is the skin sac which is containing the testes, while testes are the major sites of sperm production in male reproductive organs. Epididymis is a highly coiled tube which will carry the sperm from the testes to the sperm duct. Rectum is behind where the defecation process will happen here. It is linked with the digestive tract. Corpus gland is here and the seminal vesicle are there. Both of these glands are also somehow related to the formation of seminal fluid. So this is the pathway of sperm, that what structures it will cross until it reaches outside the body of the male body. That is, it will be produced in the testes and then it will go into the highly coiled tube called epididymis, and then from there it will enter sperm duct, and from sperm duct it will go into urethra and then out of the body.